Before we start, may I request Mr. Jeg to lead us to prayer? Amen. Good morning, class! May I know who's not around? Everyone's present? Great! Today, we will have an activity. I will be dividing the class into 5 groups. And please listen to me as I will be giving to you the instructions about your groupings. To start, the first 2 columns will form the group 1. Next, these 2 columns will be the group 2. Then these 2 columns will form the group 3. And these 2 columns will be the group 4. And the last 2 columns will be the group 5. Okay, each group will receive a paper. On the paper, there will be a jumbled letters that you need to arrange to form the correct word. You will be guided by the definition of the word you need to form. Okay, here is the paper for the group 1. Here's the paper for the group 2. Here's the paper for the group 3. Here's the paper for the group 4. And here's the paper for the group 5. Okay, each group will be given only 2 minutes to arrange the jumbled word. Do you have any clarification or questions? Okay, none? You may start now. Time check, you only have 30 seconds left. And time's up. May I ask one representative from each group to write on the board the word that your group formed based on the jumbled letters that I gave to you. Now, based on the activity you've just completed and based on your answers on the board, which is all correct, does anyone here already have an idea about the topic of our lesson for today? That's right, it's all about the key elements of the story. Before we proceed with our lesson, I would like to ask if everyone have already read the story that was assigned to you during our last meeting. Good to hear that everyone read the story. To check if everyone indeed read the story, may I ask Mr. Jeff to tell me what's the title and who wrote the story? That's right. The title of the story is The Necklace and it was written by Guy de Maupassant. He was a great French writer. He was one of the best short story writers in the world. He depicted humans' lives often in pessimistic terms. He wrote more than 100 stories and he also wrote novels, travel books, and poetry. Now, today, we'll be guided by the following learning objectives. Berna, would you read it for me? Thank you. Now to proceed, may I ask one representative from the group 1 to read what's written on their paper and what word they form from the jumbled letters. Thank you, group 1, and your answer is correct. The word is character, which refers to a person or entity that was... Thank you, group 1, and your answer is correct. The word is character, which refers to a person or an entity in a play, narratives, and a story that possesses a traits and plays a role in a plot. Now, in that story, The Necklace, may I know who the characters are? Yes, Miss Lee? Great. Who else? Very good. Now, what adjective did the author use to describe Miss Matilde in the story? Excellent. How about for Madame Forestier? Very good. Great answer. Now, let's continue with the group 2. Okay, thank you, group 2, and your answer is correct. The word is setting, which refers to the place, time, and the environment which the story takes place, providing the context and influencing the events and the characters within the narrative. Let's go back to the story. Where did the story The Necklace takes place? Yes, that's right. The story takes place in Paris in the late 19th century. May I ask a question? What word or clue did you use to determine where the story takes place, since the story did not mention the word Paris? Great! That's one word or clue that the author used. How about others? Excellent! Very good. Those words or clues used by the authors to tell us where did the story takes place. Let's proceed with the group 3. Thank you, group 3, and your answer is also correct. The word is plot, which refers to the sequence of an event that makes up the story, including the introduction, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the conclusion or the resolution. When we say introduction, this is the part where the main characters, setting, and the initial conflict establish the foundation of the story. Next is the rising action. This is the part where it builds the tension and the conflicts leading to the climax in the story or the dramatic work. Next is the climax. It is the highest point of tension and conflicts where the story's central phenomenon reaches its peak. Falling action are the events that occurs after the climax, where loose ends are tied up and the story winds down. Resolution, the final outcomes or solution of the central conflict, bringing closures to the story's event. Now, here is the example of a plot diagram where you can use when you want to organize the story in a certain segments. This is the exciting part in which I could test if you really read the story. Now, Francis, can you tell me the introduction of the story? That's right. Now I have a question. Can you describe Matilda's reaction on reading the invitation? That's right. Glendale, can you share with the class what the rising action of the story is? That's right. Do you think Matilda enjoyed the ball? Great answer. Okay, for the climax. Tabriz, kindly tell to us what happened in the climax. Oh. Very good. After the climax, we have the falling action. Who wants to volunteer to share what happened in that part? Okay, Mr. Jake. Very good. Do you think Matilda enjoyed the ball? Thank you for your answer. Lastly, Erica, can you share with the class what the resolution or the conclusion of the story is? Very good. Okay, all of your answers are correct. Indeed, you really read the story. Now, group 4, can you read and share your answer? Thank you, and that is also correct. The word is conflict, which refers to the struggle or opposition between two or more forces in a story, which creates tension and drives the plot forward. It can be internal or external. May I ask, in the story, The Necklace, is there any conflict depicted in the story? Okay, Julina, since you answered yes. Can you tell me what is the conflict depicted in the story? That's right. How about others? Yes, Jasreel? Indeed, both of your answers are correct. Last but not the least, let's hear the answer of the group 5. Thank you, group 5, and your answer is still correct. The word is theme, which refers to the underlying message, certain idea, or main topic explored in the literary work. It is often convey universal truth or insight about human nature or society. Now, I want each group to share one theme that the necklace entails. Okay, let's start with the group 1. Any representative? Okay, thank you for your answer. Now, group 2? That's correct. How about the group 3? Very good. For the group 4? And for the last one, group 5? Very good. All of your answers are correct. Indeed, the necklace entails a lot of theme. Furthermore, do you have any questions or clarifications about our lesson? None? Okay. To sum it up, we discussed about the elements of the story. Again, what are the key elements of the story? Very good. Yes, Trisha, are you raising your hands? Any question? Okay. So the importance of the key elements of the story, such as the plot, character, setting, resolution, and theme, is that they establish the foundations. They drive the storyline, develop relatable characters, provide context, and convey meaningful messages, making the story engaging, relatable, and impact to the audience. More questions or clarification about the lesson? Or any words or part of the lesson which you can't understand? If you don't understand, I can explain it more for you to be able to understand. Okay, none? Thank you. Now, I will be playing a short summary video of the story The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant, after which, in a one whole sheet of paper, you need to create a plot diagram of the story. Understand? You may start creating your plot diagram, and afterwards, if you're done creating it, you can submit it in front. So that ends our lesson for today. I hope you were able to identify what are the key elements of the story. And I hope you can apply it on the story that you are going to read soon.